From the northern icescapes of the Arctic Circle to the southernmost extremes of Antarctica, winter prowls the Earth from top to bottom, conjuring up scenes of wondrous beauty and stark severity. Breathtaking in spectacle, but often harsh environments to call home. Those that do live here thrive here through amazing adaptations and animal cunning. It's survival of the fittest, the fastest, and the fearless. A cycle of life where being strong, smart, and shrewd can mean the difference between life and death. Because in this extraordinary world of ice and snow, only the most resilient and resourceful will endure the wild winter. There are over 8 million species of plants and animals on Earth. And running through each and every one is a fundamental biological impulse. An instinctual drive to reproduce and pass on their genetic heritage to future generations. During winter, the cycle of life in the animal kingdom is profoundly influenced by extreme cold, darkness, and hunger. Some animals migrate to warmer regions. Other species stay, well adapted to see the winter through. Finding mates, forming families, reproducing to preserve their species, and teaching their young how to survive the seasonal cycles of life on Earth. On the vast icy deserts surrounding the South Pole, there are just 2 seasons: a freezing summer and a glacial winter. Antarctica is the coldest place on Earth. For the next 6 months, temperatures will descend as low as -60 degrees Celsius. The wind will blow at speeds of over 300 kilometers an hour. Only the hardiest animal species can withstand such challenging winters. And for some of them, it's a time of new beginnings. Like the orcas that prowl the ocean, orcas live and breed in the Antarctic. Females start mating at 6 to 10 years of age, males at 10 to 13 years. This mother and her young calf are unaffected by the excessively chilly waters. Female orcas can live for up to 50 years, and with gestation lasting 17 months, they produce no more than 5 or 6 calves in their lifetime. This cow will give birth every 3 to 10 years until she reaches menopause at age 40. So keeping each baby alive is critical. A mother will nurse her calf for 2 years, but they will stay beside their parent for much longer, cruising together as part of a tight family group. And even though the younger whales will remain with the pod as adults, their mothers need to prepare their progeny for a more independent existence. Most importantly, they need to know how to hunt. A growing killer whale has a healthy appetite. Calves need to consume around 10% of their body weight each day, eating anything from fish and squid to leopard seals and penguins of all persuasions. As winter approaches, the emperor penguin is spending less time in the southern seas, retreating to the pack ice, and so will remain safe from their hungry foes. At least for a short time. Their focus? Breeding. In March and April, emperor penguins trek and slide over the landfast ice to find familiar breeding grounds and begin their annual courtship ritual. Monogamous by nature, they call out to locate a penguin they've mated with before. If they're first-timers, the males will be as boisterous as they can to attract an eligible hen's attention. Female emperors only produce 1 egg a year, so they have to choose a lifelong partner wisely. Both the male and female's impressive yellow plumage serves them well when attracting a mate. This male has successfully wooed his female. Bowing to each other affirms the bond. After the commitment ritual is complete, the penguins mate. Two months later, in the depths of winter, the impregnated hen lays her egg. This is the riskiest time in the life cycle of the species. It triggers an extraordinary example of animal co-parenting. First, the mother must hand over the precious cargo to the father, which is done very carefully. Drop the egg, and the embryo will freeze immediately. And the year's breeding season would be wasted. The transfer is successful. The father is steady enough to take the egg and rest it carefully on his feet. While the baby-to-be is safe, Mother Emperor must now put her life in jeopardy for the sake of the family. She's had no food during mating and pregnancy and has exhausted her nutrition stores. So heads back to the sea to feed. She will spend more than 2 months swimming and foraging for the seafood that she'll regurgitate and share with her chick when she returns. Back on the ice, Super Dad's taken over as full-time carer. The adult penguin will incubate the egg for about 65 days in his brood pouch. This keeps it at approximately 36 degrees Celsius above zero. While all around, the mercury is more likely to be 36 degrees below. This male penguin has already hatched his egg. The fluffy chick is balanced on the insteps of his father's feet, partially covered by the brood pouch, the penguin equivalent of a warm hug. It's vital these two stay close. The chick can't regulate its own temperature for the first 50 days of life and would freeze to death if left alone. The doting father feeds his nestling a curd he's made himself. Called crop milk, the male emperor penguin can produce this high-fat substance from his esophagus and deliver it directly from his beak, keeping his chick alive until the female returns. By the time the chicks are 3 or 4 months old, they're forming groups for warmth and safety. The penguin parents continue to alternate on the ice and in the ocean. They return to regurgitate fish into the mouths of their growing babes. Come the end of the cold season, the almost fully grown penguins will be ready to go it alone. They head to the Southern Ocean, teaching themselves how to feed in the open waters, and won't return to the colony for at least another 3 years, when they're old enough to breed. And the cycle of life will start over again. At the same time as the young emperor penguins first leave their colonies, southern elephant seals have already departed on their own journey. In late winter, they leave the Antarctic and head north and come ashore to give birth and to breed. Here, on the remote snow-swept island of South Georgia, near the Falklands, they share their space with mass gatherings of penguins, fur seals, and cormorants. And with no permanent human residence, the animals have the place to themselves. Many of the female elephant seals are already pregnant when they arrive. After the females deliver and wean their pups, they'll very quickly be ready to mate again. During late winter, These sloping beaches are home to a dense colony of elephant seals, where the largest males battle for supremacy. It's a strict social hierarchy. Only one will become this breeding season's master and gain exclusive rights to a harem of females. Fights are common, vicious, and costly. The loser may be too injured or weak to breed at all. But once the crown is decided, it's usually the older, strongest bull that commands his cows. He will mate with a female that's already weaned her newborn, which she does just 3 to 4 weeks after birth. Only after that will she be fertile again, which helps explain why some mothers appear to reject their young so abruptly. It's an innate instinct to ensure survival of their species. A new day begins for the animals of the Arctic Circle. The Canadian Arctic is home to an increasing population of this cute species. There are currently more than 7 million harp seals living in the circumpolar region. Each winter, when the pack ice off Canada's Gulf of St. Lawrence is at its thickest and most majestic, immense stretches of frozen seawater are home to colonies of harp seals, all here to breed and give birth. Many of the females are pregnant. They mated 11 months ago, and like most seals, have the ability to delay implantation of the embryo, allowing them to synchronize fertilization perfectly for delivery on the late winter pack ice. Pack ice is essential for pupping, providing a dry, safe haven for the mother and her newborn. The cow needs to fatten up her pup to be strong enough to survive and swim on its own. Each day, the baby seal will put on more than 2 kilograms of mass and blubber. Survival of this species requires the baby to be quickly weaned so the female can mate again. The mother feeds her pup for just 12 days. Then she leaves it to fend for itself. The female harp seal takes to the water to find a new mate, so she can return to the ice to give birth, same time next year. The deserted pup can't quite find its feet, but it has an astonishing understanding of what needs to be done to survive alone. After 7 or 8 weeks, this young pup is old enough to teach itself to swim and feed, and is already heading for the ocean. A solitary seal determined to make its way in the world, eventually finding its own mate and continuing the cycle of life. Spring may be on its way, but late winter is still a time of exceptionally cold days and nights across the polar north, particularly in the Norwegian islands, where snow will fall until June. And in many parts, the temperature rarely passes 0, even during summer. In Svalbard, 2 icons of the Arctic are searching for a mate. Yet their mating rituals are worlds apart. The Arctic fox always has a familiar female in mind. Monogamous from season to season, Arctic foxes generally mate for life. So locating their previous partner is the most pressing concern. A male polar bear, on the other hand, will take any healthy female he can find. This boar is tracking a sow and her sub-adult cubs. Even with older cubs, mother bears remain protective. And they have good reason. During mating season, adult males can become aggressive and have been known to kill and eat cubs if it means getting closer to his potential mate. But this mother bear isn't interested. She usually mates just once every 3 years. So the timing is not quite right. Males outnumber females in heat by approximately 3 to 1. The odds aren't good for the big boar, who will have to continue his search elsewhere. As far as the Arctic fox is concerned, finding a new mate isn't an option. This male is seeking out his partner. They will not have seen each other for months. Around February, the monogamous male foxes across the tundra and the mountains and the coastlines are searching for their soulmates. There is no guarantee they will find each other after so many months apart, and whether their vixens have even survived the summer. The males recognize their females by their scents, and their barking yowls, used to communicate only during the winter breeding season. Some are lucky, reuniting and reacquainting themselves before reproducing again. They go on to raise their young in a safe family den. But others are left wanting. Their vixen nowhere to be found. Like this lone male, who may never couple up again. The sun is reappearing slowly, casting colours across brighter Svalbard skies. And a couple of newborns are learning that what goes up must come down. This mother polar bear birthed her cubs inside a den during the depths of winter. For 8 months, she fasted, relying on her body fat for the energy needed to get through the pregnancy and delivery. Once on the outside, the youngsters will stay with their mother until they're at least 2 years old. She'll continue to suckle them and teach them how to hunt. They explore and play together enthusiastically. And their #1 nurturer will keep them safe until they're able to fend for themselves. In the waters of the Beaufort and Bering Seas in Alaska, sea otters are active breeders and several times throughout the year commence their courtship and mating ritual. Males indiscriminately search for a receptive female. Vigorous play leads to copulation. Sea otters are generally referred to as polygamous, meaning they have more than one partner and need to mate often if their species is to survive. "60 years ago, these Alaskan waters were empty of sea otters. But after a successful reintroduction program, more than 25,000 now swim and breed here. To improve her chances of pregnancy, this female may stay with her bull for a few days after their union, resting and recharging while continuing to mate. During winter and over the course of a year, all eligible male and female sea otters mate on numerous occasions. Rarely, though, with the same partner. An animal kingdom strategy used by many species. The males, intent on passing their genes onto future generations. Polygamy, though, is rare in birds. Many of the world's snow-laden forests are home to the mostly monogamous woodpecker. As winter draws to a close, it's the woodpecker's turn to find a mate. While many birds sing to attract a partner, the male woodpecker drums, using his beak to beat the bark. The woodpecker declares his territory. His pecking serves to attract a potential mate and ward off other suitors. The rhythmic beat carrying across the forest. An interested female picks up on the drumming and answers his call. Once the woodpeckers pair off, they will stay together for the breeding season, raising their young chicks until it leaves the nest. This juvenile woodpecker is a product of last year's breeding season. Outside of breeding season, most woodpecker species prefer to live a solitary life. Their omnivorous diet consisting of whatever food's available, whether in the trees or on the forest floor. Having left the safety of the nest, the juvenile woodpecker must learn to feed itself. Using its jackhammer-like beak to dig out insects or larvae to eat. Woodpeckers reach sexual maturity at 12 months of age, meaning come next winter, it will be this one's turn to mate. As the calendar year draws to a close, in the boreal forests of Canada, temperatures drop to -15 degrees Celsius or lower. Snowflakes glisten on conifers, and the waters of the peatlands and streams freeze into stylish sculptures. These harsh conditions can cause the end of life for already aging animals. Older male and female moose that once frolicked and bred here now need to conserve energy in the snow-blanketed forest simply to stay alive. In poorer physical condition, they must take their time in the deep snow and slowly and surely sustain themselves, eating the vegetation beneath the ice. But they are not the only inhabitants that rely on this food source. The plundering and pillaging wild boar share the forest, trampling food stocks the moose once called its own. While these hairy hogs may not be considered conventionally beautiful, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And these animals are prolific breeders. If the conditions are right, wild boar can double their population in a territory. December is prime rutting season for most wild boar. And it's a competition between young and old. The sows have spent the year in an all-female group, or sounder. The males have come back to stake their claim and will fight for the right to mate. This male and female are testing their chemistry. A tender moment for the rambunctious wild boar. Sniffing determines whether the male will pursue the female. Females are sexually mature by the time they're 12 months old. Males mature even earlier. The older, stronger boars chase the younger males out of the herd to prevent incestuous relationships, clearing the way for themselves to couple with at least 5 sows each a season. Once a female's impregnated, she carries for another 4 months. And then a plethora of piglets. Up to a dozen are delivered and begin suckling immediately until they are weaned at approximately 12 weeks. For the next 6 months, their stripy coats will help camouflage them in the forest as they follow confidently in their mother's footsteps. They will stay with their mother until at least the next litter is born, by which time these piglets too will be old enough to mate. Further north, on the Alaskan tundra, where the plains are quilted in permafrost all year round, the somewhat more restrained caribou still need to find a mate. A female that strays from the herd, even with her older calves in tow, is fair game for a male, as the youngster has already been weaned and the cow is back in estrus. So the male is hoping she's ready to breed again. Females only mate and give birth once a year, so the bull persists. It's important that these beasts reproduce. Because caribou numbers are in dramatic decline through North America, at their lowest in 40 years. This is believed to be a result of a decline in female caribou survival rates, likely impacted by habitat destruction and over-harvesting. Survival ultimately depends on tens of thousands of these hardy creatures successfully coupling and raising new generations. Fortunately, this Alaskan twosome seem keen to get to know each other better. A splendid sign for a vulnerable species. Although among the most numerous seabird species, kittiwake populations are quickly declining, so they too are currently listed as vulnerable. But with days getting longer and the hint of warmer weather, this species' need to breed is as strong as ever. Kittiwakes have spent the winter at sea and now flock to the cliffs of 𝗥𝗲𝗹 in Norway. With an estimated total of 100,000 seabirds here, kittiwakes are just one of 11 breeding species that come to this small island. It's still below 0, and the snow's not yet melted when the first gulls land. The male kittiwakes arrive first to claim their territory and prepare to attract a female. But nesting colonies can be thousands strong, so space is at a premium. And turf battles amongst the competing males. Once the hens arrive, seduction starts. The male gulls will feed the females from their own beaks and put on noisy displays to show their worth. The coupled kittiwakes build a nest from seaweed, feathers and mud and call to each other. They'll stay together waiting to mate, then incubate the eggs for hatching. Dedicated parents until their baby seabirds fly the coop. Kittiwakes are, like most birds in the avian world, monogamous for a season, sometimes for life. Not so this showy specimen, the western capercaillie. One of the United Kingdom's most endangered birds. The capercaillie can still be found in the pine forests of northern Scotland. Where it was reintroduced after disappearing completely 2 centuries ago. In this remnant of wilderness, late winter temperatures are low enough that snow still clings to the forest floor. It's a perfect stage for male capercaillie birds to strut their stuff. Attempting to impress potential partners. Mating success is crucial to this species' future. Because despite these large grouse birds being protected, capercaillie numbers are decreasing. An increase in predator numbers, such as foxes, is contributing to the decline, and more intense summer rain is harming the survival rate of new hatchlings. It's early morning, and an elaborate and musical courtship ritual known as lekking is underway. The suitors compete for the smaller, less flamboyant females settled in the trees. But males outnumber females. So fights occur. A feud of fierce flapping and biting, until the weaker bird finally backs down. The victor returns to his courtship routine. But he must still convince a female that he's genetically superior. His enchanting performance could last for hours. And the clicking and popping sounds he's making, it's called tooting. And it must also be impressive, as the hen is attracted to calls that are longer and more vibrant. With wings up and tail unfurled, this older male outperforms his competitor. The hen has made her decision. The new couple will roam together, getting to know each other for a while, until their bond is strong enough to start breeding and help save the future of their species. Winter is finally releasing its tight grip on the far northern hemisphere. The hours of daylight are getting longer. And in the forests and mountains of Europe, Asia, and North America, brown bears awake. Once almost extinct, this imposing species has bounced back. With around 200,000 now roaming wild across the world. A mother bear and her cubs take their first tentative steps from their winter den. The cubs were born in that snow-covered hideout. Like their sister species, the polar bear, mother brown bears will protect their cubs at all costs, mostly from other male bears that would kill her babies to mate with her. She'll stay by their side for the next 2 years, protecting them, teaching them how to find food, and practicing how to play. It's believed these fighting games build the youngsters' strength and skills and help prepare them for survival in the wild. But as any child knows, playtime is also fun time. No harm in making the most of the winter snow before spring takes it away. If luck is on their side, these cubs will grow and flourish, learning to live and breed in the wondrous but harsh conditions into which they were born. Mother Nature has gifted them, and so many other living creatures, incredible strengths, instincts, and adaptations. And year after year, generation after generation, the cycle of life across the wilds of the world continues. Each spring, each summer, and every